Jesus.
You kind of look a little Ewokish, actually.
Yeah, dude.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, folks. We're live. Welcome to another episode of 10 Horse Money YouTube channel.
And you guys were expecting Mikey Balzz.
We're dressed up like two Midwesterners, and he's dressed up like the Ewok / Chewbacca.
So we got an hour.
That's a ventriloquist. He's actually making that noise himself.
I got Bog working for me part-time back there, dude, on the sound bar, you know?
He's got 10 hours of Chewbacca. So
yes.
It's
and you're going to get 1 hour of it because that's how you guys can have fun talking and listening. I'm going to have fun playing Chewbacca. So.
Oh, I'm going to cry tonight.
I always wanted to be Chewbacca when I was a little kid.
I think we all did. You know, part of it, though, is like when you're a kid, you can mimic a lot of sounds, but Chewbacca was always like that higher level sound. You know, like it's not anybody can do like an okay Chewbacca, but like to really do that, like I'm not even going to try because I'm not foolish enough to make that much of a, ass of myself. But like to really hit it, it's platinum, as we were talking about prior to the podcast.
Yes, it's a commitment. You really have to go for it. You got to commit to the sound, or it's not going to be there. I was watching. It's not everybody can do that.
As long as it's on loop.
I was watching one of those like top 10 impersonation videos on YouTube the other night, and people can nail some stuff.
There's some really good ones out there.
Amazing how good people can.
I get lost down that rabbit hole every once in a while with like even when they're just like impersonating another person, and that is just I think it's like I can't remember that one dude's name. He's off of oh gosh, what's the cop movie?
Beverly Hills Cop.
No,
there's a lot of cop movies.
I know.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kindergarten Cop. No, because there's a bunch of like Get in the Chopper. There's a bunch of guys that do like a bunch of Arnold stuff.
There's that one. Oh, Kevin Winslow.
Yes, yes.
Talking what's it called?
Police Academy.
That's
it.
Yeah.
Kevin Winslow. Whatever happened to those dudes? That black guy, right?
Yeah.
The one who could do that. Like he'd move his mouth and nothing would happen, and then 2 minutes later, it was like the speed of sound. Like it would make these all. That was pretty good.
It was impressive.
We got trick-or-treaters. Bog's like, I'm going to kill you, but actually I'm going to lick you till you die.
This little girl came to the door a while ago. There was two little girls. One was like 3. Actually, it was a girl and a boy, and the boy was like 5. And she said, trick or treat. And she reached, my wife was standing there with the dog in one hand and a trick-or-treat basket in the other hand full of candy. And the little girl reached in and grabbed like a Kit Kat, and then she looked up at my wife, and my wife was talking to the mom, and then she reached down and grabbed another one. She grabbed like 6 candies, like handfuls of candies, and I finally told her, I said, "That's enough. You got to stop," because it went from being full to like halfway, and that was like the first person that showed up at our door. I'm like, "We're gonna run out of candy." She was like a professional trick or treater.
Look out for it, dude.
Yeah, she was a little sniper. She had it down to an art.
Well, so I got two boys, and we went to the trunk or treat at the church.
Yeah.
And, not being judgmental, but some of the people that showed up to the trick or treat at the church, they probably need to go inside, not outside.
Not being judgmental, bro.
We shouldn't be wearing that at church.
Yeah, but dude, half of them were like chicks wearing like nothing, I assume.
No, it wasn't terrible, but there were some of them that were, you just don't show up at a church like that. But
they're in the parking lot. Though,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
They're in the parking lot,
yeah.
Hey, listen, it's an opportunity for you to, what do they call that when church evangelize? You could have used it as you're being all negative, like talking down to them. You needed to get down to them. Right. You needed to speak. You needed to evangelize. Bring them in, dude.
I was more,
you gotta break bread, man.
I was more worried about getting up here for Monday Night Live.
It's a cool Monday night too. It's Halloween, dude. Everybody's feeling freaky and like I don't know. It's a fun holiday, dude.
Yeah, Sean, I kind of flaked on the costume. When I sent Mikey a text last week or whatever, he's like, "We should dress up," and I was like, "Yeah, it's a great idea." And then I didn't get anything together, and he comes on here looking like a stud.
Hung me out to dry.
Wookie, I know, I bailed on you. Much apologies.
Got to represent, bro.
That's right. Mikey
I'm gonna make him buy his first punching rod and his first freaking Chewbacca costume, dude. That's what's on the menu.
All in one night.
I always wanted to go shoot a video, and I'm terrible about holidays because if I'm being totally honest, like holiday videos don't get clicks. So I'm just like, why should I waste all my time? I like creating stuff, don't get me wrong, but there's like a lot of work that goes into it. So like creating a video like that caters to the holiday thing is it's over the top too. And even though over the top works, I'm not a big fan, but it would be fun to do like some epic, like I'm sure it's been done, but like some epic holiday challenge or something, or just go fishing in costumes and I don't know, scare people. I'm sure people have done it, but reach your arm in the live well and like
it'd be great if Halloween was on whenever Halloween lines up on a Sunday and you go to the boat ramp and rally with people and then go all out costume.
I have yet to do my pink Speedo. I've been trying to so the past couple of years I've been working out a lot more and like personal level thing. Like I'm like, I wonder if I could actually get a 6-pack. Cause you look at like these dudes that are like platinum versions of like the male, like American, whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's like the level, that's like big rack, chick. Like it's this level, it's an image, it's a fake persona kind of thing. But I'm like, dude, I want to try to do that. And let me tell you, it is very hard to do, especially if you want to eat halfway normal. But like I've been trying to work out. But at one point when I feel comfortable enough with like being like halfway presentable, I'm totally going pink Speedo in Alabama. And one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to get shot and be in the news, or it's just going to be funny and cute. So we'll see how that plays out.
As long as swimsuit girls with you, you probably be okay. You just look
but I mean, what's the fun of that, dude? I mean, if you're gonna take a risk, freaking send it, right?
No, like, you got to have like guy in overalls, cut off overall shorts in the back of the boat.
In the back of the boat. So do you guys know Jacob Wall?
I know the name. I don't know him personally.
So he's a buddy of mine. He just made the BPT tour this year, but he's a younger kid from Oregon that moved to Alabama. He lives just outside of Guntersville. Nicest, coolest kid ever. And he made a top 10. He was fishing the pro circuit this year, the Tiger Warehouse, and he made the top 10. And dude, this is how lame I am. I should have executed, but you know how they have the camera boats chase the guys on the final day and that? And it was all ledge fishing. So I kind of know, I don't know every place he was, but like I kind of know some of the places. I'm like, dude, me and the girl need to go out there in like some skimpy shit with some signs and like looking like the Speedo looking trailer with some bush lattes, dude, and just be hollering, dude, and like try to get some camera action. But we didn't do it. So Jacob's got to like make another top 10 on Guntersville so I can go make a fool of myself.
That's all the inspiration he needs. I'm sure.
Exactly. That's what I need to tell. I'm going to see him Thursday. We're going to shoot a little BPT versus YouTuber. I finally got a scale, one of those Rapala digital touchscreen ones. So I kind of want to test it out because I'm not super fluid with using it yet. And I know he's pretty good with it. So it'll be a good way to kind of learn how to use it right. And I rarely like weigh fish unless they're gigantic, and lately, since I haven't had a scale, I haven't weighed them. It's all about clothes and stuff, whatever. But yeah, so I figured it'd be something kind of cool. And me and him, what you don't see a lot of times in the video is how much ball busting and like smack that gets talked half the time, because it's a little language wise, it's probably not acceptable for YouTube. So I figured it'd be a good way to sort of stimulate a little bit of ball busting, capture that, and have some fun with it,
Yeah, that sounds like a good time for sure.
Yeah, watch, we won't catch anything. That'll be the real good time. We'll be like, this sucks, no video.
Yeah, I was watching that tournament when Jacob killed it.
Dude, the lake here has been, I know we're going to talk about it, but it's not amazing. Like it's not the Guntersville that the old timers tell me about, but for me being someone that's learning the lake and that, it's been fishing good. You get a lot of bites. You can do a lot of different things. That's what's going to be so cool with this Toyota Series Championship is you're going to see guys fishing in 8 to 12, maybe not deeper than that, but like 8 to 12 mid depths, maybe a little deeper if you're near a bridge. You're going to see guys doing that in open water. You're going to see guys buried in the thickest of grass in 2 feet of water, like trolling around, flicking around braid and stuff. It's going to be everything, dude.
So what's up, Rich? I learned something Friday night about Rich. He is a huge fan of JDM soft plastics. It's kind of an inside thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check his channel out and you will laugh after you watch the video that makes a reference to what I just talked about. It's pretty funny. There was a guy on there doing an unboxing on a live stream, and it was like this JDM soft plastic stuff. And the look on Rich's face is it's classic. It's a funny video. I was laughing the whole time. It was awesome. What's up, Michael? Good to see you on here. So Guntersville. Let's talk a little Guntersville, man. You said I kind of wanted to know how the grass was, because I was down at Pickwick about 3 weeks ago, I guess it was.
Why didn't you call me?
What's that?
Why didn't you call me?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It happened quick.
Because I'm wearing a costume, looking like a freak.
Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't call you. What do you mean? Why didn't I call you? Look at it. But there was grass in there, but it wasn't like grass like there was 2 years ago. You're
exactly right.
So
2 years ago was the most epic moment of grass that I haven't been here that long. 2018. 2 years ago was the most killer grass I've ever seen on Pickwick. And from that point on, I thought it was going to be the epic, awesomest thing. And they manage Pickwick a little different because you know how it's so skinny, like for most of it, it's very rivery. They kind of use it as the back end puddle of the TVA section that we're on. So when you talk about like draining like rainwater, floodwaters, and current stuff like that, it wouldn't surprise me if they pump like 190 out of there. So when you get that much current, and a lot of that grass was like main lake grass, you know, on those little river bars, we had some flooding, and then the Army Corps of Engineers ran a lot of water. I think it was the following year. And I think what happened is it just washed all that stuff out, and it had been kind of building up and not dying as much. And then they just washed it, because it was beautiful out there. That's when I broke my Lowrance screen with a 1.5, dude. The flipping bite was killer, and it's never been the same since.
Yeah, I remember I went down there. It was in the fall. It was in, I think, October.
Yep.
And around here, an ounce and a quarter go get you through just about anything.
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
But dude, it just sat like an ounce and a quarter, just sat on top. Even an ounce and a half. I had to go. I didn't have any 2 ounces, but I felt like that's what I needed to actually get through that grass down there. It was some of the thickest, nastiest hydrilla that I've seen.
And also that time of year it dies, so you get that cheesy layer on there, and that makes it extra hard to get through. I'll tell you a little trick. So between us, you, and the guys that are watching this, I kind of like trolling these tournaments a little bit, because, you know, I don't fish many dervs and that. I went out to Guntersville, and I put a hurting on them, dude. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to edit this video up and drop it tomorrow, right before these guys are about to start fishing. So I actually went out and had that same experience. I wasn't able to get through a lot of stuff. And one of the tricks that I use, it's an old Florida trick, a 2 ounce, you get through, but it's very, if you used it, it's heavy, dude. You know, it really takes a toll on you when you're pitching, and you also lose a lot of fish because the weight actually bonks the hook out. So you catch like a 4 or 5 pounder, dude. They're doing their head shake, and that head shake throws that weight around, and it actually whacks on the hook and can cause it to pop out. So what I found is actually using a 175, you still lose a few fish, but you take a 175 and match it up with a BB cricket. So it's a very downsized presentation, and you can get through stuff that normally guys that were flipping a beaver or something like that require like a 2 ounce, even a 2 1/4. And it slides right through. So it's something to keep in mind if you ever get in that situation again.
That little boxer craw would probably work too, right?
So it does. You need to bite off the very end. And the claw, there's something about that BB cricket with how in the claws are, that when we're talking the super thick stuff that you need to go up to that 2 ounce, it's tough to beat a cricket, but that cricket, the hook pops out a lot. The boxer craw is naughty though, when you can just get through like with a 1.5 or even that 175. I've actually really, really liked that thing. It holds the hook a lot better than the BB cricket. And, I actually got another video coming with that thing. So
have you tried that on the other end of the spectrum with like a 1/2 or 3/4 when the grass is not as thick, but you want a little bit slower presentation?
Yeah, not as a 1/2. Well, I've done it more like 1/2 and 3/8. And then what I'll do is I do it with a beaver or a creature style bait sometimes, maybe something bigger. Gambler makes what's called a super stinger, or like your Reaction Innovation, the 520 beaver, that 5-inch really big kind of deal. And you put that with a 3/8 or a half, and then it's all about the fall. We call it like pitching strands. So you'll be in anywhere down to like 8 foot of water, and you'll see like maybe a little clump of hydrilla or like 3 strands of hydrilla, and you just pitch it out and you're basically gliding the bait by. The other thing that we'll do that with, it's funny because it's all Florida transplant kind of stuff, a stick bait. You know, your 5-inch standard stick bait, you can put it on a 5/16, 3/16, half, whatever you want to do. Nothing heavier than a half, really. But what we used to do, especially for spawning fish and like brim spawning fish, is we would never hit the cover, but we would glide the cover. So you have like cane or round reeds in like 2 foot of water, 3 foot of water, and basically you just pitch around that. And with that stick bait, it basically glides straight down. Maybe that tail arcs up a little bit. And I did that around the hydrilla. I think it was 2 years ago. There was an awesome bite during the summer, and you would just go around like secondary stuff and look for that deeper growth that was really fresh, and 15, 18 pound fluorocarbon, and you just pitch and pendulum it down. Maybe you'd shake it a couple times. They might act like spots sometimes and go down to the bottom with it. You know, I wasn't watching on my active target. But yeah, that's a killer bite, dude. And you never know when you're going to get bit, because you'll think you like hit the bottom and you'll go to reel up, and you never hit the bottom, dude. She got it like 2 foot below the surface. You just never felt the bite.
Yeah, that's a fun bite. I was flipping a jig around yesterday, and they were hitting it like that.
That's what it's a lot like, dude.
You don't feel anything. You just kind of see your line just kind of moving off, and you set the other way.
That's the other thing. Line watchers are really good at that. Like that jig down by us, well, that isn't us anymore, but down in Florida, there's a big double weed guard jig bite. And that line watcher deal comes into play, dude. Because when you're talking about 2-3 foot of water, you really, unless they're really biting, you don't feel a bite. You might see a reed just go wave at you just a little bit, or you'll see your line ever so slightly jump, or it goes like super slack. It's the weirdest thing. Like you pitch it out and you'll see it going to the bottom, and you know how it kind of hits the bottom and the line settles? Like instead of the line settling, it just goes kind of slack. And then you reel down, and half those times those jokers are like right under your trolling motor, dude, or they're like darting out the moment they feel you reel up. It's a lot of fun.
That's the absolute worst. though when you're punching mats, is when you flip into a mat and you don't feel it, and then all of a sudden you pick up. It's like you feel, because the tension he's already got it,
dude.
As soon as it went through and he's under your boat, you set the hook, and all of a sudden it's of line coming at you, and you've already missed him. You're done.
That's why like the longer rod, like that 7-11, like 8-footer, can get you out of trouble, but you barely get a hook in them. The worst is I actually had a 5-pounder on Guntersville like 2 weeks ago. So I pitched in, and they were on this like weird lifty bite. So like you pitch in, you'd lift, and they'd eat it. So I pitch in, I lift, and I let it go back down just like 6 inches or so. And I thought I was on the bottom, and I went to lift again, dude, and I felt tension. So I thought I was like, he was on it. So I set the hook quick because they were dropping it really fast, and it had gotten really cold. So my line was through the mat into like the edge of the mat. The fish had come out and was under the boat. So like literally we had like a 3-point triangle working. I don't know how I landed the fish, dude. Basically I set the hook, my line went in, was still stuck on the grass, managed to hook the fish, and then finally my line cut on through. But yeah, that's the worst. But that's when when they're getting it. But you got to really feel for those bites.
You got to have really thick grass for that too, to get that angle point there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they were in the goo. It's really gooey right now. As they drop the water, some of the last of the live hydrilla, that harder, stiffer stuff, which is actually one thing that's going to happen in the Toyota series. I haven't been out there for about a week or so, and they've dropped the water. It doesn't sound like much, but it's like 6 inches, 8 inches. But for that grass, it makes a big difference, because all of a sudden that stuff that was in like that 5-6 foot range is now topped off instead of being just underwater. And that's some of the last stuff that's alive. And I think some of the guys that find that, which was stuff people I'm talking like an idiot, was stuff people weren't fishing because it wasn't like your classic mat, it all of a sudden just appeared. It's just kind of how dynamic that lake is. You can have stuff that was awesome 3-4 days ago. They changed the current, they changed the water level a little bit. And even that fractional change, it changes the way the lake lays out. So those guys are definitely going to have some fresh stuff to look at, which is what's going to make it cool.
Yeah, even boat traffic. I know there's not as much boat traffic out there, but boat traffic can trash a nice little stretch of grass. It happens around here in some of these smaller lakes. You get like 3 or 4 days of high volume boat traffic with bigger rollers and waves, and it can like uproot some of that stuff.
100%.
To the bank. Yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff is junk right now. Dude, the video I'm going to post tomorrow is all junk mats. It's all floating goo. And hell, dude, it doesn't even take recreational boaters. There's 250 boats in this derb, dude. And every single one of them's running around going, where's the vermouth? You know, like where is it? I want to find it. And they're running around 50, 60 miles an hour, putting wakes, running through grass. So that same thing's going to happen because of them. Plus, we had a storm. I think they started practicing Saturday. We had a big storm last night, or either last night or the night before. It's all a wash to me. But between that water and that rain and the wind we had, it's definitely going to shift some stuff around. Guys are going to – what happened to me was I had one stretch, dude. I went out for 1 week, and I caught like 19 pounds off of it. Little small stretch, like 60 yards long, 50 yards long. Went out for 1 week, wrecked them on it, went back like 3 days after that, and, dude, it was gone. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, like that's cool. There was still like one fish and one clump, but it was gone.
Dang.
Very Okeechobee-ish, dude. It was kind of weird. I felt very, very much like I was in South Florida again, because that stuff happens down there a lot, man.
So overall, how would you rate the grass in Guntersville? I mean, is it the same thing that's going on in Pickwick? Like there was more grass 2 years ago and now there's not?
No, the one nice thing with Guntersville is it always has grass, and a lot more than all the other Tennessee Valley Authority lakes. I think Chick has quite a bit of grass, but still, I think for as much space as Guntersville has, there's a higher density of grass, especially with the eelgrass mixed in. In a perfect utopian world, I think those guys would have liked to be here about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of grass, which would have spread these guys out. But if you found some of the juicier stretches, you were in a good place. But there was enough, like, real estate to spread dudes out a little bit. In the past 2 weeks, we had 3 days of 30-degree nights, which started killing the grass. We've had some wind, a little bit of rain, and we've had, a lot of guys running around. And basically what ends up happening is there's this window in fall where we go from much to none. And it's this real cool window. And right now we're sort of, I'd say 2/3 of the way through to none. When it comes to like your flipping, like frogging kind of stuff, there'll always be grass underwater, but it definitely, the real estate has thinned out, and it will thin out every day. So some of these guys are going to get to Sunday, and we're supposed to have like 13 to 20 mile an hour winds Saturday and Sunday. So some of these guys that are doing the mat thing are going to get to that point, and they're going to be like, hey, where'd my shit go? Like it's not going to be there. So that'll be kind of an interesting dynamic.
Do you think a grass bite can hold up for 4 days down there?
I think you need, so in my personal opinion, and I'm no tournament fishing, a lot of these guys are 100 times better than me, but in my opinion, the video I'm going to post tomorrow is maybe not those exact baits, but I think that's one way to make a top 20, let's say. And it's basically a mix of targeting heavy cover grass fish, so you're punching and you're flipping, but also have some what you'd call, I guess, schooling fish in your pocket. Just some flat point fish that are schooling on bait. If you can, a lot of them are rats, dude. Like a lot of them are 6 to 8 inch fish. You can go out there and catch 60 fish, but they're going to be that big. But if you can find a couple pods that have some 3 and 4 pounders mixed in, they don't all have to be that, a few 2 pounders, a bunch of rats, and then every once in a while you catch a big one or figure out some little presentation where you can get a couple big bites. I think that's going to be the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's going to be good though, dude. I could be very wrong, but I think it's not going to be like spring weights where like you're going to see a 27-pound bag one day or something like that. But it's been fishing good. A lot of guys are going to catch fish, and there's some, I don't know if there's giants biting, but there's a lot of like 4-pounders, you can catch, and that's what leads to your upper teens bags, and then a couple of those bags breaking 20.
So if you were, I might spoil your video tomorrow, and you can be titled.
I don't care. Nobody watches my stuff anyways, dude.
If you had to if you had 5 rods out on the deck of your boat day 1 of the tournament, what would be on those 5 rods?
So I would definitely, just the way I'm going to fish the way I like to fish, because if I spent $2,000 or whatever these guys paid, I'm going to just fish what I have confidence in, win, lose, or fail. I'd have 2 flipping sticks, one with a 1.5, one with a 1.75. And then I'd probably I've been catching a lot of fish, and this is going to spoil my video, but I don't know. No, it wasn't us that talked about it, but a mini max chatterbait. I've been catching a lot of fish as well as decent fish on a mini max, and I've been able to fish it in a lot of different water columns just by reeling it differently. And also I've been able to catch schoolies that normally are kind of hard to catch. So that would definitely be a player. I'd probably, even though I don't want to, at some point that A-rig bite's going to be a player, and I'd probably have that tied on. The other thing is a jerkbait. I've been catching them on a hard jerkbait, but I think there's a play for a soft jerkbait as well if you find the right fish. Especially, I don't know about you guys, we've had a really mild fall except for a couple little windows. Mm-hmm. So the fish are they're being very gradual, which is kind of awesome because you can keep track of them, you know. But the water temps, like I think 2-3 weeks ago, it was like 73. Now it's like 68, 67. It's been this very gradual fall. So you can kind of track these fish. Even if you lose them, you can figure out where they're moving from, and they're trying to get shallower. So at some point, like that spook / like soft jerkbait bite is going to be fire for a couple days. So that's probably what I'd have set up. I can't catch dick off the bottom. Now, I'm sure there's some guys who can slang around a Carolina rig and do the ball and chain thing and catch some fish that are slightly elevated. But for me, I haven't caught a fish on a worm since I left almost on Guntersville. You know, spotted bass lakes and those kinds of places are different. But since I went to Florida in August, I haven't caught dick on the bottom since I got back up here.
Now, on Guntersville, when that water temperature starts to drop, do those fish not bury up in the grass down there?
Say that again.
When the water temperature drops, when we start getting into that mid 60s, low 60s, high 50s, do those fish not bury up in that grass?
They do, and that's actually the window I'm looking for. I don't know if we're going to get it, though, because it's this perfect timing of things getting cold and then basically the grass still being there. So we kind of talked about how the grass sort of breaks down. Mm-hmm. So the grass has already started to break down, even though those water temps aren't there. Mother Nature knows what time it is. It's crazy how the fish and Mother Nature, like from a ecological standpoint, it's crazy how even though maybe the temperatures don't reflect it, she knows what the hell's up. So the grass is already broken down and our water temps are still up. So unless we get some thrashing cold, there might be a little late window in maybe later November where we have, like a weekday bite. There's like 4 grass mats, in a scattered area, and the water temp's 55 degrees, and you go and you pump 10 times and you catch a 5-pounder. But I think it's going to be very sparse when it comes down to it. But they do that. That's one of my favorite bites. It's a lot like Florida. I just don't know how much we're going to see it this year.
Yeah, that's something we really look forward to. And it has been a slow transition around here. Our water temps are like all the way in 59, 60, 61 already around here. We have a lot smaller lakes, so smaller lakes tend to drop a little bit faster. But there's still a lot of bait out deep and a lot of stuff on the outside, like the visible mats that you can see. There's a lot of activity just on the outsides of that grass. You've been noticing that? There's a lot going on. A ton.
Absolute ton.
It's like I just want them to go in another 3 or 4 feet.
I think what it is around here is the water temperature. We went from it
dropped fast,
mid 70s to 55 in a week.
Yeah, we didn't drop as much. You're talking about when we had that 3 days of
but weather. We're fishing a lake that has no current. You got current that's coming in from the south,
circulating.
And this is a 2,000 acre lake that we're talking about. Most of our lakes are less than 3,000 acres around here. They drop pretty fast.
It was going good, and then it warmed back up this weekend. I don't know if you noticed that as well. So I saw more bait.
I saw
on the
62
outside of the
yesterday
grass
at Kincaid. So it has warmed up a little bit, but it's right there. So I think that grass around here is going to be fairly healthy on into the next month or so. What do you think?
I agree.
It still looks. There's still
Agree.
There's still.
Hey,
plenty of
I
green
kind of
spots.
hope. So let me throw this out there too, guys. Like I've been here since 2018, but in my personal opinion, I don't call that a huge amount of experience because these lakes change a lot. I'm hoping you're right about the grass because if it hangs out till like mid to late November, it's going to be awesome. Like if that water cools down, if we can get some 60s, 55 to 60, and I still have mats to play with, watch out, boys. Like it's going to get stupid. Yeah.
Do you have milfoil and coontail, or is it just hydrilla and eelgrass?
We do, but the milfoil dies faster. Like the milfoil does this weird thing where it mats up in spring and like it'll peak out at like in like June or so. And then the moment it peaks out, it starts cheesing. Like by July, we already have cheesed out milfoil, and there's some like strandy flats of it that are left that didn't cheese out, but it definitely kind of sees its best moments in that July, August kind of point. And it's just not as much of it, I guess, as there used to be. And that's part of the reason everybody used to talk about that frog bite, and the frog bite on Guntersville is nothing like what it used to be because I think there is less milfoil.
Gotcha.
We got some JDM
What's up,
in the
June?
house.
June checking in from Japan. Yeah, some JDM products right there.
Good morning. Happy November to June.
Yeah, it's like, what time is it? 10 over there?
9 or 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's a little bit late over there. Andy Leonard, Mini Max, my favorite bait with a true bass swim bait on it. I haven't thrown the Mini Max. I keep hearing about it. I need to try it.
It's naughty. And if you like skipping docks, I'm not a big dock guy because I don't have that background. I can do it a bit. But a big thing is skipping docks with a chatterbait, right? Well, this one, like literally a toddler could skip this thing under docks. Like it's so easy to skip, man. I do got a better trailer than that true bass. I love Salzman, and that true bass is better, but this is where I'm going to tease it. Watch the video tomorrow because I have a trailer, and usually I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but this time of year in fall when the fish get weird and you have to burn stuff, I think that paddle tail can be an inhibitor, actually. So watch tomorrow's video about what trailer I'm running. I'm actually going to do another video on it because I went out and hit him pretty hard again on it just to kind of like test it.
What about Asian carp? Are you seeing any sign of Asian carp down there?
You know, we've seen carp on the ledges. I don't know how to tell the difference, dude. Like they've always been on the ledges during the summer since I've gotten here. And like you see the carp and you're like, that's carp. And there might be some bass mixed in, but you either move on or you fish through them. And it really hasn't been an issue. So knock on wood, I don't know if it's a coming problem or if it's not a problem. I really don't know. It hasn't been a problem that's apparent to me, I guess.
Well, when they're there, they don't stop. I promise you that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Hey, Brock, thank you. That's really nice of you, dude. But yeah, it hasn't been a problem from what I understand. And the local chatter, I always try to. You don't want to listen to too much dock talk, but at the same time, like we listen. You watch Facebook and stuff, and if it was starting to be a problem. One of the cool resources we have is Lake Guntersville Fishing Forum, which is a Facebook page or group or whatever, and that would be the first place you'd hear about it. Like those guys, they don't screw around. Like if somebody starts hearing or seeing that stuff, you're gonna know.
Stephanie wants to know which one of you caught the biggest fish.
All right, so full disclosure. So I'm kind of a dick, I guess, because we went out that last day and it kind of sucked. I'm not going to lie. My little brother, we hopped a bunch of different lakes, and my little brother had this little lake. I think it's called like Plum Lake or something. It's a small lake in the North Woods. And we went out. We didn't see dick, dude. There was like nothing. And I'm like, Maddie, you're throwing me for a wild goose chase. We need to switch lakes because this isn't happening. He's like, just stick with it for a minute. So we went, and I scanned and I saw like 3 marks. A lot of these smallmouth were in a transition from summer to fall. They were in like 20 to 30 feet of water, and they'd be on either offshore humps or like a point hump, but they were out there and they were in little random groups. They were acting a lot like spots. And we scanned one place after scanning the whole damn lake, and I saw 3 little marks. So we went and looked at some other stuff, turned back and hit it. And I don't know how that little shit made that cast either. Because, dude, I'm telling you, I was on the active target running it, so I knew where stuff was, and I thought I hit him. So he slanged that Kitech out there, and he's reeling, and he bows up. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I want the kid to catch fish, but I was a little pissed because like, dude, I made the line. Like, am I missing the line? So he hooks it, catches it, His fish was 100 times bigger than mine. And I got caught up in shooting the video in that, and I sort of forgot I had the scale, but I guarantee you his went 6 and change. Mine came in at like 501 or something. But the worst part is there were 2 others with them, and we chased them around for like another 20 minutes. And I don't know if we broke them up. He did say that there were giants in this lake, but it was one of those deals you go out and you try to get 1 or 2 bites, like it's not like a bunch of numbers. And we couldn't connect back with him. And it was sad because, dude, the fish that he caught was just an absolute, like, it was so tall, dude. The pictures in the video don't do it justice. It's no 7-pounder or anything, but it was an easy for a small inland lake. It was 6 and change, dude. And it was giant. Like, it was stupid big.
That's a huge small.
It's a monster small.
I don't care where you catch it at. Even Mille Lacs. I mean, that's still
it was cool. I was fired up. He had a good time. It just, we only had 2 days up there, and we had to leave the second day. And what we had found out, I'm sure you guys run into it a lot, and I've learned it more up here in Florida. It's not as big of a deal because I think they're used to the sun and they actually get accustomed to it. So they'll eat kind of all day or in windows during the day, especially during the warmer periods of the year. Up there, dude, you would drive over a point, say an underwater hump, 30-foot hump at like 10 in the morning, and not even 10. There were still a few out there at 10. They'd be out there in the morning for like 45 minutes, but they weren't big. They were just numbers. You drive over it at 12, 11 o'clock, barren, like nothing, dude. Like there was no bait, no nothing. And then off to the like left over 70 feet of water, you'd see one fish go, and you drive over there and there's nothing. Like they were just roaming. Dude, at 3:30, 4 o'clock, you drive over the exact same hump, and it was just everywhere, dude. And we got to experience it just briefly that last day, and then we had to leave. But if we had one more day, I mean, I'll fish all day, but dude, the time to get right is like that 2 hours from like 3:30 to 6:30, 4:30 to 6:30 kind of deal. Like it was game on, because like literally 1 out of every 4 fish you dropped on ate. And that like it was just a different lake to fish. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's that is so. That happens so much on any lake. I'm just about any lake where that timing thing is. There's windows, certain areas. Yeah, windows. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. You'll scan a spot you catch them on, and they're not there, and then you come back and look again, they're not there, and then come back and look the third time, and they're up there, and everything's going on, and you catch them, and it's like
it drives you nuts, dude.
Yeah, and before electronics, before side scan or most recently forward facing sonar, you would just have to fish that spot.
Yeah,
and you would waste the time fishing that spot. Now you can just kind of have a look, and if you don't see what you need to see, just kind of move on. I was going to ask you this. Rich says Mikey and I bought twin boats at the same time.
Yeah, I think you like a picture of it, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. How are you liking the boat?
I love my boat. I'll frame up my biases. I mean, you guys kind of know where I come from. Like I loved my Triton, but prior to that, I was in an 06 19-foot Triton. Then prior to that, I was in a Tracker 175. Prior to that, I was in like a John boat with a tiller motor. So I am easy to please, but I think I have enough experience to kind of have a perspective, and I love my boat. The storage is intuitive. The way it lays out is intuitive. It handles big water well. It's fast. The shortcomings on my boat, definitely for the price point, like there might be a few carpet edges that are like, maybe not glued down as well as I want. I glue them down, or I take them I have a really good relationship with Cabela's where I got the boat. They've been super awesome about it. There are a few little things like that, but I look at it as the boat is a way to carry me around, but what gets the job done is the electronics and the motor and like the accessories that I have on it. And I was able to get into for lack of a better word, like my dream boat for a price point that would be like the entry level boat to any other manufacturer. Mm-hmm. Like the price points are insane, dude. Like, so I am extremely happy. So happy. I don't know if I told you guys, but sorry, my phone's dying. I am going to get another one next year. I want to do a custom color scheme, and with the way boat prices are, I think I can sell the boat for like a reasonable price, get somebody into a good boat, but at the same time kind of get my money out of it, get a custom color scheme, pimp it out, and kind of go from there. Like I've been in nobody deserves anything, but I would really like to be in a newer boat because it's given me a lot of freedom to cover more water, be a lot more comfortable with going and running 15 miles speed wise and reliability wise with the motor. So it's something that I'd like to continue doing, you know, like I don't want to let it go and kind of get in that cycle of trying to get a new boat every year. Maybe I can get some help with it. We'll see what happens. But
yeah, I understand. Do you have a Z20?
I have a Z20. I would not want a Z21. I fish alone 90% of the time, and I don't need that much boat, dude. That's a lot of boat, and my boat is fast as shit. Like it's no like bullet, but I can easy hit like 73, 74 with a full gas tank and all my gear, and I have not, because that's more than fast enough. I have not needed to like I didn't play with I have a trim tilt, but I have a jack plate too. I haven't like redlined it at like, I think you can redline them at like 6,300, 6,400 RPM. And I have not played with that to really boost her out. I think I can hit 75, 76.
I bet you can. Yeah. The guy I fish with a lot in the BFLs has a Z20, and I like the platform a lot. It's a good boat. I mean, he's coming from a Ranger, so he had a few complaints about just little piddly stuff like you're talking about. But I think as a whole, I would definitely be happy with that boat. It's got good storage. It's got
it's a great boat.
Yeah, it's a solid boat. It sits up high, which is
it is a little different.
Used to.
But I'm not. I think you guys are a little taller than me, so for me it's good because I can see like over the graphs and that. And actually, it's funny because Jacob, my buddy Jacob Wall, was in my boat the other day. We went to Smith and went to catch some spotted bass, and he sat down and he's like, dude, this has great lumbar support. And I'm like, what the hell is that? but he's like, it's comfortable. And I'm like, that's interesting because you don't imagine the creature comforts, you know, with your economy or your entry level boat. You know, one thing I do want to hit on though, because it's something that I gotta practice to answer this question too, because it's something that I would ask. You know, back when I had a tracker, Colby just asked, why do people get a new boat every year? It doesn't make any sense unless they just want the newest stuff. So there's a couple different reasons. One, like from a relevancy standpoint in the videos, I always want to be learning about the newest stuff because I think it's some of the most relevant stuff in the videos, you know, always trying to stay ahead of the game and learn about new stuff before it's the mainstream and kind of staying ahead of that. The other thing is too, I do travel a lot of like miles. You know, this year, I think I made 3 trips to Florida and I'm going to make 1 more, went to Lanier. I do put a lot of miles on the boat. So just from a personal standpoint, I've had no problems with the trailer in that, but I would like to get something new so that I'm never having to worry about the trailer, things along those lines. Plus, if I'm being totally frank, it's an opportunity with the way boat prices are. I don't know how much these guys know about how like, I work for myself and that's how I make most of my money, but I do make some money off of YouTube. And one opportunity you have is if you can get like a deal with a boat or something like that, you can make a little money off of a boat or at least break even every year. So it's almost like a lease, you know, kind of thing where you're paying for it, but you're basically paying for your use. And then you can always come out with something new. So that's kind of the philosophical approach that I take to it, where I probably don't need a new boat. But if it's an opportunity that I can access and take advantage of, like we gotta kind of try to make money and cut any corners we can. And that's one way that we can do it when we're kind of working for ourselves and playing this game.
There's a lot of guys that have a boat deal and they'll have a buyer before they order their boat, and they'll order the boat and the buyer specs whatever color scheme they want, knowing that as soon as they sell the boat next year that guy's going to buy the boat. So basically,
I don't think I can handle that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind having somebody. So if someone wants to buy my boat, let me know. But I think it's still got to be your boat, you know, like it's gotta, you gotta, because one thing that I'm going to do, I know red sells the best, and like, that's probably what I should get, but I really love the blue scheme and I want to do a custom blue scheme. And like, that's one of the appeals. If I was smart, I'd get a red boat, but.
Well, I think the other big thing is most of those guys are wrapping their boats too. So they could really,
that's true. They don't really care.
They could care less what the color scheme of the outside of the boat is. I mean, they're going to, and those guys are every year getting a new boat, but a lot of it, I don't think is necessarily the boat that they're more concerned about. It's what's hanging off the back end.
I agree. So it's funny you say that because I love my Mercury, but one of the things I did, and I did it for myself, but I did it for whoever buys the boat, is I got the 5-year warranty. and it's transferable to one buyer. So basically I have 1 year on the motor, and I think I'll probably end up around like 350, 400 hours, but I bet you 80% of that is idling. So it's low RPM, but then whoever buys the boat gets 4 years. So like there's a lot of value built into that, you know?
There's a ton of it's peace of mind, it's value, it's all of those things all wrapped up, because you go out and buy that same boat that's 5.5 years old that just ran out of warranty, that has let's say on the good side 300, 400 hours on it.
Yeah.
Now you take it out, you have a, let's call it a 30,000 on the light side boat payment.
Yeah.
Put some money down, and your first weekend out, you blow the motor.
Well, and you know what? Honestly, that's one of the things I was thinking about. Like Kobe asked that question, and there's also I don't know what the right word is. It's like the economy. It's time. So capital can be looked at in a variety of different. We're going to get really economical here, and I'm not very smart with numbers, but I look at it this way. So you can look at capital in a couple of different ways. One, time is money, time is capital, and there's also money. So one of the things that I'm thinking about when I'm looking at a new boat is, yes, I will have a boat payment, but also does it save me time capital with the videos from a repair standpoint? And also, for as much as I'm investing in any kind of repair that I would have with a used boat, like does a boat payment sort of like cover that? You know what I mean? But I'm getting a newer product with warranty in that. So maybe I'm paying a little bit more on the front end, but I might be getting peace of mind on the back end. And hey, whoa. You know, so like I'll be honest with you, man. I've been poor for years, and I'm not rich now, but I'm a lot more comfortable. So one of the things I want to do is have a little more peace of mind, and I want to be able to go shoot the videos and execute and not have to worry about fixing something. And one of the ways to do that is to invest a little more. And that's kind of what I did, you know, both for myself and for putting the videos up.
I'm a firm believer in, if you have a passion and you spend a lot of time doing whatever particular thing it is, you deserve to have a decent group of.
Deserve is a delicate word. Be careful with the word deserve. I'm not a big fan of deserve, but
okay.
But yeah, but if you earn it,
there's nothing wrong with having good stuff.
Yeah,
that supports whatever that is that you're.
Nobody should be throwing shade at you because you have.
But they will, boys.
I agree. 1,000% on that, because I mean, we both invested in lithium batteries.
Yep.
Is that something that we deserve or absolutely had to have?
No. But it's the best decision I ever made. Holy shit,
it's
dude.
Impressive.
No more freaking Thanksgiving visits to Walmart.
I got a 125 amp battery right now. It's a lithium. It's ionic lithium. And right now I just have my live scope hooked up on it because I had a lead acid and it killed it in like less than 6 months. It just trashed a brand new battery in less than 6 months. This thing, I've charged it to 80%. I've had it out 4 times running the live scope, and I just checked it a while ago. It's at 59%.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's like it draws 4% after like 4 hours using the live.
So I got the same battery, 4 graphs. Now they're all old graphs, so they're HDS 8s and a.
So you got a box too that you got
and a box and the structures are the black box for Garmin.
For the live scope.
Yep. So 4 graphs, 2 boxes, pumps.
Yeah.
Running in a tournament all day long. Started at 7:03 and turned the pumps on and ran them all day long. 8-hour tournament. Checked them. 59% left on the batteries.
Really?
It's pretty solid.
That is solid.
Well, you don't have to worry about it. You can fish all day and not think twice.
That's
a lot of times you can fish
dude, I shit you not. I've been in Walmart. So there's 2 times that I remember specifically. One was the Thanksgiving, because I used to always get the Everstarts. They had a good warranty. They were okay batteries, but
there's Walmarts everywhere.
Yeah, and they're almost. That's the other thing. You could go to friggin' BFE, dude, and you could replace them. But literally, I was on Kissimmee once. I had to drive back to Lake Wales, like, because we're addicts, dude. It's like, I got to fish tomorrow. I'm here to fish. I only have 3 days, you know? And, dude, I sat in a zoo at Walmart Thanksgiving Day trying to get a battery. And then another time it happened on Black Friday when I lived in Fort Myers, dude. And these were, like, year-old batteries, you know? Like, I'm like, dude, I want to kill myself. And since then, I've had no problems. Now, granted, the price point is definitely up there, but the reliability, and that's the other thing too. On the old lead acid, we were never fishing 2 days straight. Like if you didn't charge the night of, dude, you were SOL. You know
what happens when the cord gets unplugged at the hotel?
Oh yeah,
it gets kicked out.
Yeah,
or lightning strikes the power.
Yeah, the jerk off that drank too many beers trips over your cord and never looks if it's plugged in. Yeah,
he's out there. Yeah, he comes out at dark and
he does, dude, kicking.
He's like a little gremlin that comes out every night, and it's usually around this time of the year that he starts to make his appearance. I mean.
Well, it's like that old fairy tale with the shoemaker where the elves would come in the middle of the night. You never see them. And but you don't got to worry about that stuff. Like I hate to say it, but it's kind of nice because dude, I'm a worrier. That's what I do. Like I stress about factors, when it comes to fishing. I stress about what, things about the boat being right, your line being right, your equipment. That's what we do. Cause that's, in order to fulfill our goal to do what we want to do, we have to worry about all these different little facets that go into it. And one of the biggest things is those batteries, dude, because if they go, you're done. Right. And the lithiums have been awesome with that. Plus I'm running, I think I told you guys, I'm running 5 batteries. So I have 3 on my trolley for the 36 array with lithium, but then I run 1 single battery just for my front graphs and my active target. So what's nice too is if I were to get into that situation, I can always like swap around some wires, and if I have a battery go bad, I can do that. I can always jump my AGM. There's with that much, it's less weight to carry around because the lithiums are lighter, but you have extra power sources, so you can kind of swap around, and you're never just floating around dead in the water.
Right.
Yeah, a buddy of mine he's running a 5 battery system as well, lithium, but he has 2. He has a 36 volt trolling motor, so he has 3 for that, and then he has 2 ran in. Is it series?
Parallel. In series,
parallel, or whatever.
Oh, parallel. Yeah.
Everything else is hooked up to that. Including his motor, and it's ridiculous the amount of battery life he gets out of those. I mean, he, like he said, he can fish 3 days. We fished 2 days at Pickwick, and his batteries were still at 80% after 2 days.
Well, that's you're adding the powerful charge, dude. And that's the other thing between the lithiums and the powerful charge that I have now. That's not hooked to my 1 graph battery, but it's on my trolley batteries, and it's on my my cranking battery. So like I'll get done fishing, and like you were saying, like I'll look at my power, and I'm at like 90% on my cranking. I'm like at 85 after like sitting in the current all day. I'm at like 85% on my trolling batteries. It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I had the same thing after that tournament. I think I was over 80 and never let off the trolling motor all day.
Yeah.
Like that was what I was nervous about, because we got 250 amp hour.
Yep. Yeah, the little smaller ones. Yeah.
24 volt trolling motor. And everybody that we talked to was like, well, you'll probably get like a day out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, we're not running a 20-foot boat with a.
We got 16-foot aluminum boats. So it's pretty light,
But the first time I kicked it on, I'm like, okay, I'll probably get. I was kind of watching it as I was going on my phone, like how much it was drawing. And I'm doing the math in my head. And I'm like, I'll probably get a day out of it. And then I got done with the day, and I looked down. I was like, are you kidding me? It was at 92% after the first like 5 hours out there. I said, this is ridiculous.
And that's the capital thing we were talking about. Like it's an investment, but like, is it worth the end game? And obviously it is. We're able to stay out. We don't have to worry about that stuff. And like we can get extra days, extra time. Like I've especially noticed it during bed season, because I'm a serial troller. Like if there's fish on beds, I will get on that trolling motor on 10 and go, dude. And that's the one time that I've been able to kill my lithiums on my old boat, because I didn't have the power pole charge. And I went from prior to sun up till sundown, and I bet you I cranked my motor like 3 times, dude, and ran like 2 miles. But that's the one time I was able to kill them in a day, and that's when I was only running the 3 and I didn't have the power pole charge. And I'm talking like, this was serious, dude. I was on Lanier getting after.
But you were running on 10 all day.
I was running on 10 all day long, dude.
So the guy that we got him from, we talked about that. He asked me, he goes, do you run around on 10 all day long, or do you run around, normal 3 to, or he actually said 5 to 6 all day long. I'm like, well, 5 to 6 isn't normal for me. I can't fish it 5 or 6 on an Ultrex. It's
3 to 4.
3 to 4.
Because our boats are kind of light,
I mean, we're moving at a mile and a half an hour
Yeah.
on 3 constant. And he's like, well, if you're going to do that, then you'll be perfectly fine with the 50s. But if you're trolling around all day on 10, then you'll kill them.
Yeah.
I don't think I can kill one in a day, even on 10.
I don't think you can either because you don't have that much weight that you're pushing.
No.
Andy, my buddy, priced a new Vex, just like the VX21. Marfell did.
Oh,
with all the bells and whistles, like 4 graphs,
like
Yeah.
$126,000.
Listen, I'll buy another house, rent it out, try to make money for 4 years, and then buy. But
That's
that's
you
why I
could-
like my nitro, dude.
you could probably make the payment with the rent off of that.
Exactly, dude. Like it's just, I don't know. That's what, dude. I like my night. You know, I like the Phoenixes. I really like the Falcons. There's the Tritons. Like, there's a few boats that I really like, but for the price point, like, I will take any maybe little small shortcomings on carpet quality because my boat fishes just as well as the rest of them, dude.
Right.
And it is pimped out. Like my boat, like humbly I say, is second to none when it comes to rigging because I did it exactly how I wanted to. But I guarantee you, I'm into it like 20 grand less than anybody is in any other boat, dude. At least
It's pimped out, other than your Lowrance Live that you use
Shut up.
for
Unbelievable.
That's custom. You can't buy a graph like that.
No, but
don't
here's the
mind.
deal with the Active Target. You know, so for anyone interested in buying the boat, I just run that on Active Target. And all I do is I lock the screen and basically the scroll never moves around and you just leave it set on that all day and you're just fine. So ain't got to fix something that
Was that
ain't
the ounce and a half
That
weight?
ain't really broke.
yeah, dude. And I'm talking kissed it. I didn't even hit the thing. It like, all right, listen to what this microphone does. You hear that?
No.
Okay. That's what the weight did. It literally just, it glanced like the way you'd like baste a chicken or like a turkey for Thanksgiving ever so gently, dude. Like it kissed it. And I heard just this slight little, and I'm like, shit. And dude, I look down and it's like those movie scenes in slow-mo, like the horror movies you watch right now. It just goes, and like there's spider cracks. I'm like, no.
So
And that, ironically, that's the day we were on Pickwick. We ended up catching 18 pounds, but it all had a bitter taste in my mouth because like that happened right at the beginning. Like I just kissed it and the whole thing spider cracked. And then we went and caught 18 pounds flipping mats and literally never cranked up the boat and fished 50 yards. It drove
Yeah,
me nuts.
even 30 pounds would have put a
it was
crook in your stomach, man. That's a hard pill to swallow. It's like,
so the front graph that you cracked,
yeah.
did it come back down?
What do you mean?
Did you hit it on the
No, it was, or let's see, it was the out. It was the pitching out. But I'm telling you, dude, you know how you make that pendulum? Like it didn't hit it. Like there was no bounce. There was nothing. It just went across it. Like it just went. It was the weirdest deal.
Across it.
Tungsten so hard.
Yeah, that's what it was, dude. Because I think those touch screens are because ever since they went from the Gen 3, I think it was, to the Live, they used to use like a little more. Remember the old tablets that had like the hazier screen?
Yep.
They used to use that like more of a gel or LED screen, and they went up to the Lives with like a pure glass screen, and it's clear. It looks friggin' awesome, but it's definitely more delicate.
Well, and there's no edge either, right? Like.
Yeah, there's no edge, so it just went straight across.
There's not there's not a bezel, plastic bezel.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. Like but dude, that graph glass, I like the guys at Precision Sonar, they're buddies, you know, but like still that stuff is the best insurance policy. Like forget insuring the boat. I mean, insure your boat, but like it's tough to insure the graphs and you probably get in a wrangle with like your insurance company if you try to get them replaced. And that graph glass, $50 a screen is 1,000 times worth it. I put it's like the 8XD version of the Crush by 6 cents. So in my old boat, when I'd slang for like ledge fish, there was always this transition, dude. So ledge fish season would come in like April, May, and all of a sudden the 8-foot rods would come out because you're throwing crankbaits. And it was like totally different because you were fishing in spring with shorter 7 foot, 6.5, because you're shallow, making accurate casts to spawning fish. And dude, I put graph glass on and my boat was 18.6. So I'd always worry about that first part of ledge season because my spacing in my cast, like I didn't know where I was, you know? And dude, I put one of those 8XD size freaking Crushes through my freaking, my captain's unit. And dude, the whole freaking thing smashed. And I'm like, shit. I'm not going home. I'm just going to fish through. I went home. There's a video I have of it on YouTube. I went home and literally just turned on the camera and I'm like, this is either going to be like a celebration of graph glass or this is going to be like, maybe not, I'm not that big time, but like the end of their positive branding. I got the little plastic like scraper knife, you know, that you use to pry stuff off without scratching stuff. I popped it off and peeled that graph glass off, dude, and my stuff was tits. It was 100% not cracked, not even smudge. Actually, there was a little smudge on it. I took my shirt, wiped it off to make sure it wasn't a crack, and I'm like, I'm sold, dude. I will never have another boat with graphs without this stuff, dude.
Yeah. I need to get that. Sean says, does it take longer to charge the lithiums and lead?
It's way
faster.
Way
faster.
Get down.
And the interesting one last tip about, I'm sure these guys are getting bored with lithium talk. I don't know how yours work, but mine are actually fully charged at 80 to 85%. They actually go into a recycle management and care cycle once they hit 85 if you're using the correct charger. And so basically you hit 80, you're good to go. That's full day, like 100%. But then they go into a maintenance session for that 85 to 90%. So it's not necessary. It's necessary from time to time, but you never need to really actually get them 100% charged.
Do you unplug yours at 80 then, or do you just let them go until they're?
No, I let them go. So I tried to buy these cheap Chinese. Well, all right, my power pole charge is good to go. I don't worry about that because it's a trickle charge and it manages it. But for that independent battery, I had to buy another charger because I don't have enough ports on the power pole charge. And so I tried to buy, first I used a car charger, big mistake. That was not a good idea. Then I bought some cheap Chinese lithium charger off of Amazon because it was only like $35 and I didn't want to spend the money. That was a huge mistake. So finally I got what was called a Victron charger. I just got the single 6 amp. It's like $89 on Amazon. And dude, that thing is money, absolute money. And it goes through the cycle. I actually, it's the recommended one from Battleborn. I actually put it on my trolling motor batteries from time to time, just to make sure they're cycling through that sleep to maintenance deal. And so I'll kind of re-up them and retop them off. I don't know how yours work, but the weird part about my lithiums, and I think actually it's lithiums in general, is they run at a higher voltage. So your top voltage is actually like 14.1, 14.2. And a lot of your standard, even if they're adaptive sort of dynamic chargers, they'll only charge them to like 13.6.
Yep. So all of our, we both have the NOCO, and they have a lithium setting and they run it all the way up. Because if you watch your battery getting charged, I think it's charging like 14.6, 14.7, something like that. So
it's a higher voltage. Guys who would see that for the first time would be like, what? But that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we're running Andy Ionics. We have the Ionics. And you have what, Battleborn? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I got Battleborns.
Okay.
I have 3 of the actually all 100 MAHs actually. Ironically, so we run the Gambler Free tournaments. I have a 50 one like you guys have, and I use it on an inverter. And when we're at a place where we don't have a power plug, we'll actually I'll put my laptop on it to do the tournament weights. So it's super reliable, you know, like it's kind of awesome, dude. So we basically use that as a mobile power source. And when I'm camping, I use that as a mobile power source to either charge or heat the truck when I sleep in the truck.
And probably doesn't take.
I am a hippie, so
doesn't eat a lot of battery at least.
No, that battery is awesome. For a 4-day camping trip, I can charge it once and I'm good to go. Like I couldn't charge my boat off of it or something like that. But for like accessory stuff, I need a little light in the truck. It's a real safe and easy way. I can run my laptop off of it, pull all the videos off the card, put them on a hard drive, turn off my laptop, and I'm still good for the next day. Because there are some campgrounds. I'm going to do more of that, by the way. If any of you guys that are watching are interested, I kind of want to get a little off-site a little bit more. I like sleeping in my truck. It sounds terrible, but I like going to places where I don't have cell phone service, where I can really get away from. I work a lot, like crazy hours, and so if I can get 3 days where I can turn that phone off, it is like a 6-day, 2-week vacation for me, you know. And so I'm going to do a little more camping and kind of show some guys, because I'm still on a budget, and years ago I was on a real tight budget, and I wanted to fish and I wanted to go to different places. And there's ways you can do that in very manageable, cheap ways, be halfway comfortable, and really experience, like, this is the millennial coming out, but really have an experience at some cool campsite on a lake. You know, you're there, you catch the sunset, you're right next to the lake. Like, I love that, dude. I want to do more of that and capture it in the videos.
And you don't have to stay at a campground to do that.
You don't. That's the trick. And if you know how to do some of this mobile power source stuff, it really enables you to be, the hermit. Always bring your pistol. But other than that, dude, you can ride high and dry and stay in a lot of places guys wouldn't normally think you could stay at.
Well, and we talked about it a while ago, but you can always stand under the lights of Walmart. I mean, they welcome that. So
they do, but I think they've gotten a little weird with that at some sites. It used to be all of the Walmarts, but you can't do it at all of the Walmarts anymore. Yeah. Huh. So definitely verify before you go and stay.
Before you plug it up for the night.
Yeah. But hell, I mean, like you said, all you need, what I've noticed in Alabama is there's a lot more. Florida has a lot of public places, but they're tough to stay in, I guess. Alabama has a lot of Tennessee Valley Authority land, and it's public land. Like, you got to be careful about hunting it and things along those lines. But dude, you pull a truck up and turn it off. I mean, you might have the local sheriff come by and say, "Hey, what you up to?" But you're legal, dude. Like, as long as you know that.
Like that, I mean.
Yeah, right, dude.
I'm just saying you might have a problem.
Camping in costume video coming soon.
What have you heard about lithiums in cold weather? Because Brock says, what about if you fish all winter like 25 to 30 degrees?
Brock, so I'm happy to say when I don't know something on a personal level, I've fished in some really cold weather. I've never had issues, but from a specs level, I have a really good relationship with Battleborn. That's actually a question I'll ask because I do want to do a video. There's a lot of guys that literally, and I was one of them. Why the hell would you spend that much money on batteries, And I'd like to do like a real grassroots straight up video. Like, why the hell would you spend that much money on batteries? And one of the questions would be, do you see like a cranking amp drop depending on the temperature that you're actually using, or ampage delivery drop depending on the temperature you're using that? That's a great question.
So I don't know the exact science behind it but I don't think it's running the batteries. It's charging the batteries. You can't charge below 32 degrees.
Really?
You can have them out drawing off of them.
Yes.
And down to, is it 20 degrees or is there a low?
I think I don't know what the low to run them is, but there's a
charging is what you got to watch out for. There is something to do with charging, which luckily
I know, dude. I didn't know that.
But I mean, every time that I charge my boat, it's in the garage.
Yeah, Rich says ice fishermen use lithium all the time, and they're out there in the coldest conditions. But there is something with charging.
Well, the other thing too is you close your motor well and you plug the charger in, and what ends up happening is that at least my power pool charger doesn't get hot, but it warms up, and that AGM that I have warms up. So in a sense, you're creating an environment that's going to be warmer than the exterior.
So the great thing about the Ionics is there's a temperature gauge on them.
Okay.
Darius says they don't charge under 32, but there's a temperature gauge. So when I pull up my app, I can see what the temperature is essentially in my garage.
Okay.
That's super handy.
So that's nice to know. But I will be shocked if I'm on the lake. Now keep in mind, water temperature if you're on the lake, it's never going to fall below 32 degrees.
Right.
Your boat is somewhat insulated with foam, flotation, all of that. Yep. You're not going to, unless it's just a direly cold day, if it's 22 degrees outside for more than, the first part of the morning, you're probably not going to be on the lake because it's going to be frozen.
I will. Going to be locked up.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm there, dude.
What do you do about So what do you do about your guides? Do you have any trick for your guides freezing up in cold weather? Because that's the thing.
It's the simple old school one is dip them in water, and it's a continual process. You dunk, and once you do it once or make a few casts, you're SOL, and you got to keep doing it. But that's pretty much what I do.
I do the tappy, like I tap the rod, and it helps.
That works too. You actually got to do that with the reel, because the bigger problem I have is where, say you got like 7 rods on deck and you threw one in the morning for like 20 minutes and then you set it down, your bail freezes up. So the line actually sticks to itself on the bail. So you go to cast and it literally just like stops. You throw your trap off because you got to make a big cast and it's all locked up. So you got to be a little careful with that deal. But a lot of times, this is nasty, but a little spit or like some heavy breathing, or if you want to dip, like drizzle, it's hard because it's so cold on your fingers, but you pour some water over it and it'll loosen up.
If you got to take a leak, there you
go, dude. That's always warm.
It's 98.6
Just don't-
degrees.
Sometimes I think
Don't
I have
pee in your
more of
pants,
that.
it only
in the legs
stays warm
than
for a little bit. So
Yeah, always
Braid-
donating, bro. Always donating.
Braid's the worst though. That
Yeah,
braid gets water in it.
because it's porous.
It's
Yeah,
bad.
so
Yeah.
it sucks that.
well, you
stuff
said
up.
you've destroyed some braid. By
Oh yeah,
your-
I went fishing down at the Whitewater River one afternoon. Me and Alan went down there, and it
Okay.
was like just barely below freezing, and it was sunny, so it wasn't too bad out there.
Yeah.
We were just throwing a spinning rod with just braided fluorocarbon leader, and it was okay. I was fishing, it was fine, but I got home and I don't know what happened. I think when I put it in the back of the truck, everything settled down, and all that water that was in the braid froze up, and it kind of blew up on the spool, and it was
Really?
trashed. I mean, it was trashed. Had to cut
Really?
it off. Yep. It was a mess.
I've never heard that. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you go back to Florida during the winter?
Yeah, I go to Florida. Usually this year I went 3 times. Swimsuit girl, her best friend got married. So we went down in April, but normally I'll go down there sometime in January for about a month, and then I'll go down sometime like August or something for about a month. So I get a nice, probably total like 2.5 months to 3 months down there per year. So it's nice. I'm basically like a middle-aged snowbird, dude. I always made fun of people like me, but it is kind of nice because fall is beautiful up here. The seasons are beautiful. I kind of like the cold. So, and the big fish bite in the cold. That's just a reality. So it's kind of nice. You get a little bit of like taste of both worlds,
See, I'm with you here. How cold is too cold?
Man,
I don't think it's too cold,
Yeah.
dude. I fished in some shit in Wisconsin. We used to go to a power plant reservoir when it was like -10, but the water would be 55 degrees. But it was like the only open water in Wisconsin to fish. So we would drive 3 hours to fish off the bank in like a place that was the water was 55 and it was like -10. So if you want it, you can have it. Like I don't know. If you want to go, you'll go.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm out there in some situations where most people, I mean, you're out there by yourself, which is kind of cool. Talking about how you like to get off the grid and turn the cell phone off. A lot of times when you're out there in the wintertime, you're the only person out there. A lot of
That
times.
is what's
There's
nice,
a few
dude.
people out there, which is good, but it can also be bad if you have any kind of problems or something where you need.
That's one thing that
Yeah. So you're kind of on your own out there.
The funny thing too is, dude, like I noticed around here at least, it's not as damp as Florida. And I tell this to guys all the time and they never believe me, but 55 degrees in Florida is like 20 degrees up here. Like it's bitter just because of the humidity. Like you'll have your full Gore-Tex, like long underwear on in Florida just because the wind and that dampness, that humidity. But like up here, dude, if it's like 50, 45, like I'll have a hoodie on with maybe like a performance shirt and stuff, and it's nice. Your fingers might get a little cold from time to time, but it's beautiful, dude.
It's just the opposite when you go like out to Colorado, right? Like that dry cold. You're talking about the humidity.
Yeah.
30 degrees out in Colorado feels like
It's totally different.
Dude, I used to snowboard out there, dude. If it was like 28 degrees and sunny, it was like being on the beach. It was beautiful, dude.
Yeah, there's people that live in a guy I eat lunch with, his son lives out in Colorado. And he's from Missouri originally, but he's been out in Colorado for like 15 years. So he's definitely a local. But when he comes back here for the winter, he talks about how it's like cold that chills you to the bone because of the humidity. It gets inside your clothes and stuff.
Yep.
You get moist and it freezes you. And he's used to that low humidity.
That mountain air, bro.
No, and you can take a snow blower, like a leaf blower,
Yeah.
out there and just blow your sidewalk off. Around here, you gotta like shovel and it's icy. It's a lot of work, man. It's a totally different environment out there. What do you think it's gonna take to win on Guntersville? Like let's say like top 10 to hit in the top 10 and then to actually to win.
I think there's going to be a few guys that catch like a couple initial 20-pound bags or around 20, 19, 18 and a half, 20. There might be like a random like 22. And I think you'll see a couple big bags right off the bat. And then it'll probably even out a little bit where they're catching, I wouldn't say 15. It's going to be tight. I think a lot of guys are going to catch fish, but I think if you're in that like 18 range, 17, maybe you get a big day in the beginning and then you catch 17, then you catch 18, something like that. But it's we always talk about it. A big fish is going to go a long way. I don't think you're going to see a lot of giants. I think the guys that can catch a couple 4s and 5s, that's going to be the big player, like 5 and a couple ounces, you know, a couple 4s and a couple ounces. Like that's where it's going to play. And then if somebody can catch like a freaking, you know, a Yoda 7-pounder, like that's going to be a huge play, dude.
Here's a cool question right here. I like this question. How many of y'all talk to yourself about fishing, or is it different because you're always?
Dude, I always talk to myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Effing crazy. I talk to alligators too. Like I think alligators are kind of like pit bulls. So I'll sit there and talk to them like I talk to the dog when I'm in Florida. And then I talk to the dog too. I'm a mess.
Have you always been like that though? You always just talk to
I'm kind of weird, dude. I mean,
shit.
I'm sitting here in a freaking Wookiee costume, dude. Like I'm a little weirder than I think people would imagine. So like and also I don't know how you guys are, but as you get older, you give less and less shits. And like, or another word, I actually use another word, like behold my field of bleep, you know,
right.
you stop caring, dude. And you just kind of like, it's your experience out there and you go and embrace it. And that's like, if it's fun to like shoot your mouth to yourself or to like talk to the freaking nature that's out there, like have at it. Like, who cares? I don't know.
You can't be embarrassed by nature when there's nobody around. I mean,
yeah, dude. I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of times you're all lonely, but yeah, dude, I definitely, you know what I found too? It's interesting. We've talked about it because you guys make videos and create videos. One of the things that I find funny is I'm actually not very vocal. Like I like quiet and no talking. So that's somewhat ironic, but if I went out to fish, like for myself, like a lot of times it would be very, very quiet. I might mutter to myself and stuff like that. But a lot of like the commentary and the narrative and like the framing of stuff wouldn't happen because I like the quiet. Like I don't want to hear noise. I want it to be quiet except for something here and there. But what I found is a lot of times maybe I'm an auditory processor. So because I'm not saying what I'm seeing sometimes, I'm not thinking about a pattern or noticing little nuances about like aspects of what the fish are doing. So what I found is sometimes I'll go back to watch like an edit that I made. And I don't know how to put it, but like we don't always engage with the content that we create. We make the content, we have an idea in our heads and we make it, you know, we're not always watching it. I guess you could say we're in the process of making it. Sometimes I'll watch these videos and I'll be like, dude, that's what was happening. And like, I'll have this epiphany because in listening to some of the things that I noticed, I didn't really take it in and engage with what I was actually saying. And I missed an aspect of the pattern. So what I've been trying to do in relation to talking to myself is if I'm not catching fish or if I catch a fish, sometimes I'm telling myself like what happened, like vocally, like I'll be like, dude, I caught that one on a trap. It was super shallow, but it bit right when I killed it and then popped it. And I'll say that to myself. And by saying it, I almost like process it or embed it, you know, and it allows me or forces me to be more engaged with what's actually happening and be more mindful of what I'm doing. Does that make any sense?
It does, man.
Really deep, but yeah.
It's really deep.
Yeah.
The whole process where you're talking about that was, I'm thinking, because I'm kind of like you, I'm the quiet guy on the lake until something happens and I'll shout out or something. But if you could hear what's going on in the head,
yeah,
I'm a basket case.
Yeah, me too.
Like, true basket case, but you'll never. It's like a duck on the water. I'm remaining calm on top and kicking like hell underneath. Like that's just how I am.
Yeah, I think I've noticed too where you are doing sort of a tutorial type video. You're talking about what you're looking for, like an inside turn in the grass line, and here comes one. We're on a river channel swing, and you catch a fish, and then a little bit later you're doing exactly the opposite of what you should be doing. You get off what was the pattern, and you're just talking about it. You're just expressing the pattern, and then you go back the next day and you're editing, and you're like, I was just talking about what I should have been doing, and I was doing it at that time, and I got away from it. And what was I thinking?
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like you, or I hold a lot of stuff inside, and I think it's you got to get in a habit of talking all the time. You can always not use stuff, but if you don't talk during it, it's not there. So it's better to over talk, I guess. But I'm the same way. I can be totally quiet. A lot of times I go out there with the intention of shooting a video on a certain technique or something, And I'll find, an hour's went by and I haven't even really said anything. And I'm just kind of,
it's nice, dude.
it's very peaceful. It's
so
that's how
nice.
it used to be. That's how it used to be before the YouTube
Well,
thing.
and you need that sometimes, but I think there is, because you talked about being like a scramble, like a head case, and I think sometimes when we force ourselves to like vocalize some things, we take all that mishmash that's going on and sort of unconsciously we pick out like the important parts. So it's almost like a step after the process, because if you just analyze it in your mind, dude, you can have this giant pyramid scheme of ideas flying back and forth. But if you actually force yourself to say, this is what I think happened, and you make a decision on it and you vocalize it, it almost sort of self-instructs you to like, to be like, move forward on this. You sort of take that step of like being like a head case, but you take that step forward from it and say, win, lose, or fail, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm going to try. And for me personally, that's been really helpful, dude.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of holding yourself accountable for.
Exactly, dude.
I think we just started a new support group.
Yeah, right.
I'm JB.
Hi, I'm Mike.
I'm fishing.
But it's true, because literally I say this all the time. In reality, we are a bunch of freaking addicts, dude. Like if we took all the money that we throw at fishing, all the time capital, all the passion, the emotional investment, dude, we'd be banging like 10 out of 10 chicks, because we'd be the most passionate people ever. We'd have huge houses. We'd have awesome cars, all this stuff. But yet we chase green fish that are underwater that we can't.
And how much time would we have invested back? Like,
oh, dude, it'd be insane.
I mean,
probably all be sane,
all the luxuries in life.
Oh, dude,
look at the one luxury that you
caviar.
can't ever get any more of, and that's time. Like,
yeah.
And how much time do we spend? I wake up Saturday morning, and the first thing I do is hook up the boat and go to the lake.
Hell yeah.
And then I do that again on Sunday morning, and then I go to work for.
And then there's travel time.
Travel time, dude.
Hours of driving.
Yeah,
that's those are videos that need to happen, like reflections in the truck reflections. Some of that shit gets deep, boy. Like, whoa.
When we first started fishing BFLs, the 2.5 hour drive in the Pontiac Vibe from your house to Kentucky Lake.
Yeah, we had some conversations.
We said that like from the get-go, we should start like filming and selling this stuff, because it would be gold, like comedic gold. What we, the way down, what we're going to do, the way back, what we screwed up on, what we should have done, all of the
the suicide prevention group, dude. Oh like, it's just raw, dude.
So, but it's funny you said that. My dad the other day. So we fished a USA bass in a couple weeks ago, and he struggled, like mightily struggled. Did not put a largemouth in the boat. Did not, and not throwing any shit on my dad, but we talked about dinner the next night, and he's like, usually I would be pissed off and ready to sell everything. He goes, but for some reason I just want to go back and get revenge on him. I'm like, that's right, go get him, Pop.
Yeah, get mad at him.
A bunch of freaking addicts, dude.
And then he hooks up the truck and it's got a flat tire, like catches a slash on the way to the lake and has to turn back.
That's something, Daniel T right here. He says, ever since Live Scope, I found myself yelling at the fish, basically.
Oh, hell yeah. Why won't you bite? Why'd you do that? Who do you think you are?
Or the ones that just swim off. I had that happen yesterday. I cast it too, and they bailed. I was like,
I had to bleep out. So we were up there, me and my little brother, and he's actually never used the active target, but they were set up like kind of perfect for it. And dude, we dropped on this one set of fish, and I put it in the video. Literally, dude, I pitch it out to like, it was like a 4 set, dude. I pitch it down, and I'm like, I thought it was short. Oh, I'm good. And that one just fucking swam away. I'm just like, dude, it's just it's amazing, but it's so cool too, because you're learning at such a higher level. A lot of these guys hate on. I don't want to get in a big active target or forward-facing sonar discussion, but so many guys hate on it. But when you boil it down, we're out there to learn and understand and catch, and there is no better tool, and it's still not closing the deal. Like you can see them, but you can't catch them sometimes, dude. So there's so many arts that that still go into it, even though you can see what they're doing. We
didn't even talk about the best one when he swims from the bottom at lightning speed, and you just stop. And you're just waiting.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
And then he swims off.
Ugh.
Or by it. Just like, I'm just gonna screw with you and swim right by it.
Or he follows it down. That's
Dude, I'm telling you, fishing is all like sex stuff. It's all like chicks at a bar. Like, I'm telling you, it's like, dude, I'm gonna close. Like, and then you turn around, you go back to her, she's gone. She like went to the bathroom to sneak out, like it's all the numbers game, right? Too. You're like dropping on as many fish as you can see, and you're like, just one come home with me. That's all I need. Just one of those to come home with me, dude. It's all a bar game.
And then
dude.
It's a rat.
It's a rat. Yeah, that's telling you. It's, I don't know. It's funny though. And it's so fulfilling.
Oh yeah, we can't live without it. It is so like back to what we were talking about, how much time it eats up. If you play, say you play guitar, you can just walk downstairs, play your guitar, walk back upstairs. If you work out, like I work out down here in the basement, I just walk downstairs, I work out, and I walk back up. Fishing, you get in your vehicle, you have to get your stuff ready, you get in your vehicle, you drive an hour and a half.
You can walk out your back door and fish for an hour.
But I'm not going to fish there because,
Well, no, I'm just saying, but we have that option. But because we're addicts, because we're addicted to this crack that we call fishing, we're gonna drive an hour and a half to the lake.
Right. Make it extra like painful on yourself. What is it called? A masochist. Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing, and this is where you get really crazy. So you go and you work out. Like every day you see a gradual progression, right? You're getting stronger. You're getting more fit. You're getting better. Every day you play guitar. You go from Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven to like Hendrix, like raw guitar. So like your improvement is just, it's calculable. It's quantifiable. Right. Like you go fishing for 3 days, you whack them, you go the fourth day and literally don't get a bite. And you're like, what did I gain? What am I taking home from this experience, dude? It's the most manic sport, if you want to call it a sport, manic pastime that's out there. And it's such an emotional like crest to like bottom of the wave. Like you can be on top and you can be drowning, within 4 hours, dude. It's crazy.
And if you don't fish tournaments, what's a successful day? It's whatever you make it. And that's what the best part about fishing is. Like, it's not the, going out and catching the dirty 30. Like, on a particular lake.
Yeah.
Guntersville, it's a little bit easier than other parts of the country. I mean, you're not going to go catch the dirty 30 on Smith.
Yeah.
If you do, you're a legend.
Yeah. Well, and it's all about framing, dude. Like you said. And I think that's interestingly, it comes back to our YouTube stuff. Like a lot of the new content, like the Guggen stuff, the 1v1 competitions, it's all framing how you, in creating a narrative or supplanting a narrative like of what you want success to be. Like but the funny part is that's the way life has always been. It's all framing. It's all either framed from a cultural stance from the top down or the way you frame things from the bottom up. It's just now more, I guess, open, and there's more opportunities outside that standardized tournament framing. Because even MLF had to go through that, where they're doing every fish. Once again, it's a reframing of the same thing as to what success is. So it's all in our heads. It's all mind game, dude.
Well, I think to me, it's like a good day to me is when you make adjustments that show progress. When you go out there with a certain technique in mind, say you're going to drag a shaky head on the bottom and it's not working and you're bouncing around, you're trying to make it, you're forcing it and you try something else, it's not working. And then you finally stumble upon something that starts to work and you start getting a bite and you put a little piece of the puzzle together and you kind of build off that. Now, you may say you've only got 6 hours to fish. Maybe you didn't figure that piece of the puzzle out until you were 4 hours in. So you're not going to catch a whole lot of fish. But by the end of the day, you at least had a little bit of an idea of what was going on. Like the other day when I went out, I know there's a frog bite. And I'm sure you have the same issues when you're doing content. You don't want to do like 17 frog videos in a row or 17 punching videos. You got to mix it up. So right now there's a strong grass bite around here. So that's the prominent pattern, is fishing a frog or punching. Well, I've already got a couple of those. I got one coming out Wednesday. That's pretty good. But I was trying to find another pattern and I was going away from the fish trying to make that happen. And I finally got a little bit of a jig bite, oddly enough. And then towards the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I've put in the work. I've really tried to make something else happen. I want to go see if this frog bite, I just want to justify in my head that that's really what I should have been doing the whole time to maximize. And then, I go fish a frog for 30 minutes and I catch 3 fish just like that. So that, to me, that was a successful day because I had a really good idea of what I should have been doing. I didn't do it. I tried to make something else happen. I put a little bit of something together. Yeah. Back to doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing, and it was what I thought it was what I should have been doing to get the most bites.
I like that.
Yeah, it's just like a little circle. I do that a lot, just trying to mix it up, and it challenges yourself too. It makes you think a little bit outside the box because not all the fish are in one certain area. There's fish to be caught, even though it's like there's a major pattern or two.
Yeah,
there's little minor patterns or little mini patterns going on. If you can figure out those little mini patterns that you may not catch as many, but you've figured something kind of niche out. And sometimes it feels cool to just figure that kind of.
Well, it's great video content, dude. Yeah. I struggle with that same thing because, there's a reason community holes are called community holes for a reason. Seasonal patterns are called seasonal patterns for a reason. Stereotypes, for as much as people might hate them, there's some truth in them. I'll probably get flagged for that, but it's the same with fishing, dude. Like, so it's kind of, we're always, when it comes to being dynamic with content, we're always in that struggle to sort of do something different and unique. Like, that's actually one thing that drives me nuts is because to be honest with you, I would go and flip every day that I'm out on the water, like for the past 3 weeks and into the next 2 weeks. But like, you can't do that. So I'll go and figure something out, catch a bag. Like, I'm going to put up the video tomorrow and I can't go and relive that. Even though the first thing you want to do is wake up on Saturday and like, dude, I just want to go do that again. That's it. Like, let me do that. But you gotta mix it up and do something different. And that's good. It just sucks because you want to go back and catch them.
I know, man. I know. It's
tournament
deal. It's discipline. It
is discipline. It's once again, it's masochism because it's freaking mind bending torture, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, like a Ned, a Ned rig.
God, I love my Ned.
I know. And you could do a lot of Ned. I mean, you could do a Ned rig video every week, probably.
Yeah, I could kill it.
Yeah.
But it's good to stay dynamic. Like it really is. And it's interesting too, because I'll throw it back at you this way. Another thing that I like doing is when I have confidence issues. We're talking about like the mind being like you're a head case, So every once in a while, like I'll get into a swing where it's like, dude, I know I can get 5 bites doing this. And I think that's like the Florida coming out of me. And when you grind on something for 5 bites, dude, and nobody sees like the 3 hours in between the video when you don't catch dick, but literally you put together a 20, 25, 30, 35 pound bag. And it's not because you caught them all day. It's because you caught 5 freaking mondos and you kept just like, I'm so stubborn, I will not be broken, like that kind of deal. There's all different dynamics where you can sort of capitalize on that and make that your achievement for the day.
Yeah. My buddy Ron says, you didn't zero, you just ran out of time.
That's a great point. Or you weren't out there for the right window, right? It's a different lake at 3:30, dude.
Yeah.
I want to know about this new private dating chat. I'm surprised they got through your filter, dude.
They're into Wookiees.
They're into Wookiees, right? Found my calling. Very nice.
Oh, the White Knight.
Money.
So you're gonna drop the White Knight video after this weekend, right?
No, the White Knight. You'll see what the White Knight is Wednesday. I
got a derby on Saturday, right?
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
man. Sorry, it's already primed and
appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
It's okay, man. Nobody can catch them like you.
Wednesday, Kevin, you will find out.
Yeah, Wednesday the White Knight video will be out there.
And it's not what you think it is.
Or is it? I don't know.
You guys are terrible, dude.
Yeah, Dave Stewart told him to never argue with the fish. You can't argue with the fish. You go out there. I mean, content creators, we do this. I do this all the time. I go out there. I want to make a video on such and such technique, and I try to force it for a couple hours, and it's not working. I saw a video, one of your videos. It was probably like 2 months ago. You're trying to get a punch and bite going, and it just wasn't happening. And you had to bail and go out and fish offshore to get the fish. Sometimes that happens. So you got to listen to the fish and do what they're telling you to do.
Is that the White Knight?
Most of the time.
Was that the White Knight?
What?
Just make an appearance?
Oh, no.
The unicorn pig.
Unicorn pig.
That's what I should call it. If I catch a big one tomorrow, that's what it's going to be. Look at that unicorn pig, son.
And your pink Speedo.
Yeah, it's a little chilly for that.
Add that
Actually,
to your
but
add that to your list of quirky things. I like dangle dicking.
oh, dangle deep. But I mean, that's what Ned rigging is.
I love that. That's
I
like
mean,
one of my favorite terms, man.
But you know how it's funny because we're all like phallic centered or whatever. So it's like, yeah, dangle dicking, and like some intuitive reason we all know what that is. We're like, oh yeah, you just kind of like throw it out there, you shake it a little bit, let it go down. It's like, wow, we're all kind of messed up.
Dad said if you shake it more than twice, you're playing it with it, right?
That's true. True story.
They're just trying to hold you up on good things, dude.
Let's wrap this up, man.
Sounds good, dude. Are you guys going to be, well, quick question for you. Are you guys going to watch the coverage and stuff? Are you interested in the Guntersville tournament and that?
Definitely. 100%.
Really?
I'll be watching it. Yeah. I'm going to watch it. Everything dries up. I don't like this type of year because I like it for the fishing personally, but if you're a tournament fan, you like to watch the live coverage, it just goes away. You get addicted to it. It's like a sports fan. They're an NFL fan or a Major League Baseball fan. After the Super Bowl, after the World Series, it's over with, and there's this dry spell. So anytime there's live fishing on available to soak up, I'm definitely going to be.
You got the double dose this weekend.
Why's that?
With the Toyota Series and NPFL.
Oh, that's right.
I forgot.
I've never watched the NPFL coverage. Is it decent?
It's decent. Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
It's worth checking out. Yeah.
I know I watched so in an ideal world, I would really like to move to like north of Atlanta. I really like it over there. Lanier, Hartwell area. And I think part of it too is I think those lakes set up for ways that I really like to fish and kind of like, how you can fish and catch fish, but you can fish and sort of like have an intuitive understanding of how things set up. Like I don't know Lanier that well, but for some reason I can catch them out there and those kinds of lakes. And they've been doing the Bass Open coverage. They televised the last day. And I watched the last day on Hartwell, which I think for a lot of people would be a little hard to watch, but I thought it was really fun. Those guys were getting super technical out there. You had some guys fishing shallow, but then you had some guys that were literally like picking fish off of their forward-facing sonar. And it was cool because they're, some of the guys got really nice boats and fancy stuff. Some of the guys, you can tell they're in like a 2018, a 2012, and they're younger kids and that. So it was kind of a different live experience, almost more like a YouTube live experience, like normal guys, they put their money in the pool and they're just trying to send it for dead,
How there was a guy in the Hartwell one that was in the final day that I don't think it was in this. I don't think it was a newer than like a 2000 boat. I mean, it was an old boat.
Yeah.
And that just, it put it into perspective. Like that guy's a grinder.
Yeah.
That's the guy that you don't want to be fishing against on Championship Saturday.
Yeah.
Because he's been putting his boat back together for 7 years now and knows every quirk about it.
Yep.
And he's not worried about that. He's worried.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit, dude. He's just sending it, dude.
Right.
Yeah, this is basically what we were just talking about, man. Fishing is a therapy.
Yeah.
It's 100%, man. I feel so much better if I get to fish on the weekends when I go back to work on Monday.
100%.
Clears my soul out.
Even if you're tired as hell, dude.
Yeah,
it's funny because there's a different version. Being tired from being tired, working out, doing things, whatever. Being tired from fishing has this sweet level of satisfaction that like you're sitting at work and you're like, whatever, dude. I was out there. I was doing it,
Yeah.
Or you just put in, 9 or 10 hours and you're going to go to the lake tonight. Like,
yeah. Yeah. You don't care. You got this fresh set of energy, dude. Yeah. And you're like, yeah.
I know you get that a lot because like middle of summer, July, August, mail carrier, sweated your butt off all day long, come home, jump in like a cold shower, hook the boat up and run to the lake.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we do the Wednesday nighters in the summertime and
I
bust my ass all day long and get off just in time to get over there. And I think another thing, piggybacking off what you just said, anytime you do something, you accomplish something that makes you feel, I don't want to say worthy. You achieve something inside that's worth your time. The next morning, even though you're tired, you feel good. Like if you stayed up till 2 a.m. editing a video, the next day you're tired as crap, but you're like happy and in a good mood and stuff.
Yeah, but
don't
that's
feel
like
as much.
that endorphin thing, dude. That's
Yeah.
that shit that like the marathon runners talk about. Like because it doesn't always have to be like a physical exertion. Sometimes it's a mental process, you know. And I don't read many of those like self-help success books and stuff, but if you read like articles by some guys who make a lot of money or things, maybe they're entrepreneurs, like they thrive on that. Like it's very much like this what's that serotonin oriented sort of process, you know, where they're driving, they're not eating, they're very manic, they're going through this process, fighting through it, grinding, and then they hit that pinnacle and things just flow for that brief moment, and they're doing all this work to sort of create that structure and get to that point, and they hit it, and then it just remotivates and rekindles the process, dude. And I think fishing does that for a lot of us. Like that, you know, like we don't need that much. We're very easy to please, but it's a very specific kind of thing, and we just need a dose of it to keep us going. And when we get it, we're just as fired up as a kid, just as fired up as that first few minutes when you get out there, like right at the morning kind of deal, you know?
Yeah, there's a difference when the next day you're dog tired because you binge watch Game of Thrones versus sitting down and playing like bass or something for 2 or 3 hours, learning a bunch of songs or editing a video or whatever.
Yeah,
it's totally
100%.
different tired, you know.
100%. I like that kind of tired.
What about, so Rich has his question is tell all about the time you spend on the water and the people you meet even through YouTube. You meet a lot. Do a lot of people say hi to you out on the water and stuff?
There are quite a few people. I'm always surprised, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of weirds me out because you make the videos and you don't think anybody watches them. Like, if I'm being totally honest, because I like make the stuff and like to make it, and I like the like people interacting with it, but it never really feels like somebody actually watches the stuff. And then you'll have somebody, free girls in your city. Wow, dude, I'm doing the wrong business. So like you never really think people watch it, and then somebody will come up and they'll be like, Mikey Balzz? But yeah, and I'll get kind of like shy or probably blush a little bit, but then we'll have a great conversation. And the coolest part is like these guys come up, and I don't know what a pro feels like, but I'm sure it's more like they're talking like up and down at people, you know what I mean? Like, dude, the people that I meet, we have these awesome conversations about like what they were doing, how long they've spent on the lake, you know, if they lived around here. They're always interested if like Boggs around, and it's like down home hanging out, shooting the shit. And it's always hard to like go our separate ways, dude. But what's really cool is being in a place with a bunch of different lakes. Like, I know I always run back into them at some point. So it's a lot of fun. And I'm not the most social person, and it's cool to have those experiences, because for me, like, it opens me up to being more like people oriented, which I'm not super good at. And it just makes it good because people always come up super positive. I'm waiting for the time when somebody comes up and they're like, yeah, I want to freaking hit you or something. And that hasn't happened yet. I've heard so many horror stories, but I don't think it hurts having the dog around. So, but
yeah.
Well, the dog still watches your content, right?
Yeah, he probably does. I don't know. He just always wants to be up. He's such a freaking dope, dude. Like, he always wants to go, and then he'll get out, and it goes outside of his like optimal temperature range, and he's like dying. It's like 75 degrees, and he's like, oh, why am I here? And it's like, dude, you wanted to come. And like, I'll bring him home. We're going out the next day. I'm like, Bog, I don't think you want to come. And he's like, bro, are we going? Like, let's go. You know, like, he's all, and I'm like, dude, you don't learn. But he's more obsessed with it than I am. Like, it's good having him around. It's getting to that time. The red nose pit I had wasn't in the videos that often. He was in one of the best videos I think I ever made, which was when I went to Kissimmee for 3 days. I called it Matted. But I love that dog to death. And I got him right as he was passing away. And he's not that old yet, but I think dogs, like people, sort of, they mingle and they maybe synthesize a little bit with the personalities that are around them. So I'd like to maybe start thinking about getting another dog from the rescue so that it's around him. It can sop up some of his personalities, maybe learn from some of his behaviors, his positive behaviors, and start doing that. Cause he is definitely a partner, and he makes the experience of being out there, even though he drives me nuts sometimes, that much more enjoyable.
That's awesome.
My dog I have a 14-pound schnoodle. It's part Schnauzer, part poodle.
Right.
She's the same way. She absolutely loves to go fishing, but she's a house dog. I mean, she's
Right.
not acclimated to being outside. So it's like a 70 degrees or lower type of dog.
Yeah.
And she's got dark, she's black. So that sun just sits up. But if you say fishing, you want to go fishing,
she's on
she
it.
goes freaking nuts, man.
Yeah. Truck ride.
Doesn't like
want to go on a truck ride?
Yeah. She's just like, she's
Look,
all,
he's
all
just
in.
perked up.
Oh, dude. You want to go on a truck ride? Go fishing? He's ready.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
ready. He gets
had
to
a
go
guy-
tomorrow. So
I had a guy a couple weeks ago, the first time this has happened. But I was walking, I dumped my boat in, pulled my truck up, parked it. I'm walking across the parking lot with Finley, my little dog, in my hands. And this guy comes walking from the dock and he said, "How's Finley today?" And I'm like,
like, what the
wait a
fuck?
minute. How do you know my dog's name, man? He'd
He's
watched
been
the
peeping
video.
in your house for days. Dude.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of creeped me out at first, but he had just seen some of my videos, so that was cool.
You know,
But
Great
that's what's cool. We
conversation.
need more of that because it does get. Listen, I'm as competitive as the next guy, maybe a little bit less, but like it does. We do build walls a lot out there. You know, it's my spot. I found this little sneaky thing, and I think sometimes with some of the content we do and just mingling with people, it breaks down some of those walls, maybe in a very segmented, gradual manner. But I think it's a good thing, dude. It creates. I hate the word community, but it does help to build a more positive sort of reinforcing community when it comes to being on the water.
well, I think you guys both know you made it when you get haters, right?
Oh yeah, I love trolls and the porn stuff. When
Yeah.
the dating apps start popping up on your YouTube videos, you're in a good
big time,
place, dude.
Yeah, you're big time. Still.
No, I remember this was a couple years ago, and Gabe was just getting started and starting to get some really good content and some good followers. And I had heard some chatter around a couple of groups, the guys that I hang out with, that they didn't like what you were doing.
Yeah.
Surprise, right?
Right.
Like,
Exposing the
And
local
then-
lakes.
and then one of those same gentlemen texts me with a screenshot from a video and says, "What hook do I use on this bait?" And I was like, "Why are you asking me?"
Killing him
know
with
that bait."
kindness, baby. Yeah.
And he's like, "You're best friends with Gabe. You know that." I'm like, I do know, but you can reach out to him and ask him how he does it. And he's like,
Don't
"I
play
won't
this
do that."
circle jerk stuff with
Like,
me.
yeah,
boy.
I'm
Come
here.
on, bud. Like,
I'm just here to share, man.
That's
I really
right.
am. I'm
That's
just
right.
here to share. You know, we're all trying to have fun, and when we get over ourselves and just go out there and fish and enjoy life, life is short, man. It's like, you know, it's going to be over before we know it. We're just a little blimp. We're a little ant walking around on the sidewalk, and we think we're like a giant dinosaur.
Exactly.
Get outside of yourself and share the love. I mean,
Wow, you're a hippie too, bro. I should
am,
link you
yeah.
up with my brother.
I got some of that deep down for sure, man. So, all right, man. Let's wrap this up. It's been awesome. It has been fun. Man, it's always good to hang out with you, man.
Hey, dude, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm a little disappointed in both of you that you didn't sport the costumes, but we'll have to do it next Halloween or something like that.
Yeah.
Should this be like a Halloween tradition?
It could be.
I'm down with it, dude.
Like first annual Mikey Balzz.
First
Halloween?
annual. Yeah. Get your
Right.
balls for Halloween. We're giving out balls.
I work on my costume. Man.
You'll work on your costume. It isn't that hard. All you got to do is costume from here up. Dude, you could be like not wearing pants. I mean, he might care, but I don't care, dude. Like,
Well, hopefully we'll be in the new studio next year.
He has a pink Speedo on. I know he does.
nice.
It's probably a thong. Actually.
Nice.
He's at home.
A velour thong.
Blur.
That's what we should.
They're out there,
Dude,
man.
we got to get better with the editing. I want you to like do the digital blocks, like the blur blocks on my chest, and like make it look like I don't have a top on. Or something. That'd be hot. That'll be fun. That'll be my goal for next time.
Paris Hilton hot.
Yes. Or maybe
What you should have done is wear a
bikini.
bikini over the top of your Wookiee outfit.
That would actually be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I'm willing to cross some boundaries, you know, for
It's
the
still
sake of
family
fun and
friendly.
shenanigans.
Oh
So-
my goodness. My goodness.
All right, man. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck.
Hey, thank you, dude. Hey,
Well-
by the way, I noticed somebody mentioning if they want to get a hold of me or anything.
Yes, sure.
You know, you guys can always subscribe to the channel, but if you want to message me, just shoot me a message. I'm on Instagram, Mikey Balzz, MikeyBalzz, or Facebook if you prefer that. I don't really check my TikTok messages very often, but feel free to shoot me a message. Be patient with me. I try to check them, but I'm running around all the time, but I always try to answer as long as it's like a legitimate, you know, like text kind of deal. So hit me up and I'm happy to shoot the shit about fishing with you.
See, Jim got it. We completely missed this.
Yeah, I've been compared to Keith Combs
a lot.
multiple
Yeah,
times.
dude, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, go with it. Embrace it.
Well, except for like the Keith Combs from the neck down. Like you got the Keith Combs from the neck up.
I'm the more
You're
leaner
the lean version of
Combs,
Keith
I guess
Combs,
you would say.
Yeah, but that works though, because all we're doing is a
right here up, yeah.
deal.
I just gotta buy a tournament.
A bust,
buy
if you will.
The Keith Combs tournament shirt. That's all I have to
That's
buy.
all you needed, dude.
That's it.
Throw a Strike King hat on. I don't know if he's still doing that. Like hold up a 6XD like every 5 minutes. Like, boom.
It's got to be a chartreuse blue back.
Hey, everybody on here, go check out Mikey's Wisconsin video, like the last 2 videos. I think people are missing out. Those are really good as a content creator.
I had some fun with those, dude.
Those were good, dude. You died.
I appreciate it. I thought they were good too, but as we always say, if you think it's good and you post it on YouTube, it's going to get 0 views, dude.
I know, man. It's crazy how that works. But you should still get 60 something more views for that. That's how many people are still on here. So I think you guys
if you guys like hardcore fishing and beautiful shots of fishing and like the experience, my little brother is a guru with the camera, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna shoot you some sick B-roll and some sick drone shots." And no shit, he did, dude.
He did.
Just beautiful stuff, and we caught some bigs and had a good time.
And then the commentary that was kind of meshed over the back, especially
I tried something different. Yeah. People thought I was burning, but literally I wasn't. I was sitting in my office, dude, like at 9 in the morning. I'm just like, let's get deep, like emotions with Mikey, dude. I'm sipping a cup of coffee, burning some incense, dude. Whatever. It was fun. I want to do some more of that because I think a lot of times in the moment, it's hard to grasp everything that's happening, like emotionally, pattern wise. And I think it's cool sometimes in a more formal standpoint, not doing like a garage talk about catching fish and stuff, but to really like step back and like analyze and bring into a narrative everything that happens. So I'm not going to be doing those all the time, but I'd like to do some more stuff like that because I think I have fun with it. And like we talked about, it's about us feeling like we achieved something, having some fun. And if somebody takes something away from that, that's 10 out of 10,
Yeah. And that smallmouth that jumped like 5 foot out of the water.
Them in spots, I'm the worst because, dude, you don't get views and you won't get much traction content-wise off of spots and smallmouth. But I shit you not, I could fish for spots and smallmouth for the rest of my life and be a happy person. I might get sick of it in like 10 years, but I love catching them things. And the things they do underwater, catching them is fun, but figuring out how to catch them, how they move on the bait, what they eat, is just, it gets me off, dude. That's so much fun. You can do crazy stuff.
Man, that's why they make them all different colors.
That's right, dude. Something for everybody.
Yes, exactly. All right, we're out of here. Everybody go check out Mikey Balzz Fishing and check out the socials, man.
Happy holidays.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. It's always fun. Let's make this an annual thing, all right?
Heck yeah, for sure. Later,
guys.